I want to start this by getting a really big elephant in the room out of the room. And I'm standing up here today to talk to you about why craft matters more than ever. But I imagine most of you in the audience are looking at me and probably thinking, has she ever actually made anything? Has she? Does she understand the implication of rating the camera at 2000 ISO and shooting wide lens handheld style? Or the consequences of spending money on film over digital, or choosing a live orchestra over a sound bed? Well, you're right. The craft skills, the knowledge, the expertise that so many people in this room and up and down this country possess is expansive and extensive and specialist all in one go. And I can't say that I have ever necessarily stood in your shoes. But let me say this, I am in awe of it. Because what I can talk to is how the choices that you are all making to tell your stories makes me feel. And what I feel is how you are all dreaming out loud, speaking without needing words, and showing me how you feel through the things you're making. What I can absorb are the considerations that you've made around pacing, rhythm, structure, tone, lighting, texture, composition, palette, taste. Taste that makes me feel lighter or bluer or bouncier. The choices behind the sound design, the VFX, the cinematography, the editing. What is it Sir John Hegarty said once again? Advertising is 80% idea, 80% execution. Here's to you, Ahab. We are at a pivotal moment in human history as content creation, or as I like to call it, content stuffication, speeds up. Investments in generative AI exceeded $2 billion last year. AI-generated articles now surpass human-written content online. Disclaimer, no LLMs were used in the writing of this. And 90% of the world's data, 90% of the world's data was created in the last 2 years. More haste, less speed? I don't think so. And as global macroeconomic conditions see investment shifting into big data and big tech, it becomes much harder for us, for you, to create the space to experiment. We test, we optimize again. We measure, we restrict, we rule follow. We are asked to prove it before we've even started. This is not new news, because every education system in the world has had the same hierarchy of subjects since mass public education was first introduced in the 19th century. At the top, maths, then languages, then humanities, and at the bottom, the arts. The curriculum was served to create an industrialist agenda, an agenda focused on efficiency, productivity, capitalism. So creativity has always had a global PR problem because it's impossible to meaningfully quantify its impact comparative to almost every other sector. Why? Because it's about feelings. It's about freedom of expression. It's about the essence of our humanity. It's about the fact that I still sometimes hum along to hate something, change something, and it makes me think of Honda. Sure, we know the advertising and marketing industries contributed £109 billion of GVA to the UK economy in 2024. So advertising accounted for 4% of total UK GVA. We know that advertising is driving business growth, with 3.5 million UK businesses investing an estimated £66.6 billion in advertising in 2024. But despite multiple attempts by esteemed thinkers like the late, great Sir Ken Robinson to challenge policymakers around their emphasis on attainment targets and examination results instead of liberating imagination and initiative, we have collectively struggled to find a common language to measure the value of real craft. I want to be honest, because at Channel 4, we talk about this with a total lack of fluency. Some of us might have a feeling about a pitch, a line, an idea. And while we wear our responsibility as a public service broadcaster and our purpose to create change through entertainment really, really proudly, we find ourselves sat there in rooms saying, it's got a lot of fourness, hasn't it? That feels quite four. Well, that's quite remity. What the fuck does that mean? I can't tell you. I can't tell you, but I bet you know what that means. I bet most of you know what I'm talking about intuitively in your bones. And I am comfortable with that. Much as it might frustrate some people around me not to have a scorecard or a triage process or a governance framework in place to make a call around whether we should press go, not everything can or needs to be rationalised all the time. Most art can't be explained, the last time I checked. So the rub is this. The art of craft is important precisely because it is unquantifiable. Precisely because it lives in the spaces in between. Precisely because it evokes what it means to be human. For me, Young and Rubicam's 1964 Computers Can't Cry ad puts this so well. I'm going to read it out to you. A computer can tell you how old she is. It can tell you where she lives, how big her family is, how much money she makes, where she shops, what she buys, how much she spends, what she reads, when she watches television. But a copywriter, like Greta Nissen, can tell you what makes her cry or laugh. Young and Rubicam likes computers. Young and Rubicam loves Greta Nissen. I am not suggesting that technology is the enemy. It isn't. Technology is a brilliant enabler, and directed with care, it can help bring big, bold ideas to life quickly and in some instances with polish. But let's not allow it to make us lazy, because the enemy here is much more straightforward. The enemy is apathy. It's a steady, unconscious, fatalistic shift towards a mentality that says, that's fine, that's good enough. What's the point if I can do this cheaper or faster? Well, I'd venture that the point is this, that craft is a belief system. It's a belief system that matters now more than ever, because for now we still get to make the art and we still get to express how we feel and have other people feel it. If you stop believing it, I will stop feeling it. If you stop choosing it, I will start ignoring it. And if you stop caring, I'll stop caring. And that's the risk. As 4Creative's very own ECD and creative partner David Wigglesworth said in a recent article, craft is about being deliberate, simply about being deliberate. As he said, you can feel when someone's made a call, backed an instinct, and left their grubby human fingerprints all over it. AI may raise the floor, but it won't raise the ceiling. And the work that lands will feel opinionated, human, and uncomfortable. That's how you know it matters. Thank you.